A shooting at a rally for former President Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, is being investigated as an attempted assassination, according to law enforcement officials. The incident left the shooter and one attendee dead, and two attendees critically injured. Trump's campaign has confirmed that the former president is fine after being swiftly removed from the stage and taken to a local medical facility for evaluation.
And so there you have it. Taking a brief pause from my typical and normal channel content, where I like to really go into detail about social psychology and, of course, political psychology, which is really just an extension of behavior and the human condition and the evolution of our society, which is very much wrapped up in this social media life and the constant drumbeat of propaganda that comes from the 24-hour news cycle and social media and internet and the constant drumbeat of news that comes through handheld devices. Now, we saw yesterday, I was sitting at dinner with my family when this news started coming across of Donald Trump being attempted to be assassinated by some crazy, rogue, insane lunatic. And why? Why? Because this person, who's now been identified, you can clearly see this is the person who has been slowly feeding and digesting a steady diet of propaganda that, I'm sorry, this channel was really designed to speak to truths. I don't care who speaks the truth. I have called out people on the right as much as I've called out people on the left, though I tend to call out the left more because I think that the rhetoric on the left is more dangerous. And you're seeing the result, the consequence of this. This crazy lunatic who has been fed a steady diet of propaganda, what is he being fed? He's being fed the idea that Trump is a racist, a misogynist, a fascist, a white supremacist, always an ist. And he's not any of those things. He just has a different political bend to his philosophy in our society. He's not a threat to democracy, no more than Joe Biden is a threat to democracy. They just have different political ideologies. And we need to always try to expose the truths, the facts in their argument, or identify the mistruths, or the lack of logic and rationale, or danger in the policies. Now, all of that is usually an extension of people's feelings and emotions and ideas and warped senses of humanities. And we don't care about people. Just totally untrue. So let me show you why the left tends to be more dangerous just from these couple of videos.
I just found out about this. It just happened. I haven't even had a second to process. You're telling me somebody finally had the balls to bring a pew-pew and he missed! We were a second away! We were a centimeter away from half of the problem being gone and you missed! There was a white man attached to that trigger. I know it! We were a centimeter away! Oh!
That was more staged than a Tyler Perry production of Medea Runs for President. This was, I believe, done to try to show his strength counter to Biden's fragility.
Who says these things? Who says that they wish that Trump was shot? Do you know how bad that would have been? I used to say that years ago. Somebody made a statement about Obama being shot, and I said, you take that back right now immediately. That is no good. That would be the worst thing for our society. I don't agree with Joe Biden on basically anything regarding his policies. I don't think necessarily he's a nice guy. I probably think that he is tied into a lot of political corruption and dark money and malfeasance as it relates to his son and their business dealings overseas, using the office as a piggy bank to enrich themselves and their wealth. But I would never wish for the guy to be killed. It's ridiculous. It's irresponsible. It's ridiculous. It's unbelievable how these people could either call for that, want that, or think that any of this was staged is truly a remarkable degree of stupidity and arrogance and ignorance. And thank goodness they are not running our society. Now, why this occurs is because, just an opinion, a lot of this hard rhetoric that comes from the left. You created this problem. You, by constantly saying that he's a racist, a fascist, he's going to be a dictator, he's a white supremacist. None of those things should be called out, because all you did was create an environment where this lone gunman, or whoever he might have been working with, thought for the good of the country he should be a martyr, and if he had offed Trump, he thought he would have been a hero doing what he thought was right for the republic and giving his life in the process. Do you realize how close? And you have to say, God was watching over this guy, because if his head was turned this way, that bullet goes right through the back of his ear. And when he turned, it went through his ear itself. That's how close. That's how, just by a moment in time, all of history, American history, could have been irrevocably harmed and changed forever, inciting what could have been a civil war, likely and possible. And we don't need that. We have a division of ideologies and thoughts and ways to move the country forward. And these two guys, these two people that are going to be your choice in November, you should, with great responsibility, and they, with great responsibility, should say, I don't dislike this person. I dislike his policies. I just don't think they're good for the path forward for America. I don't wish harm on him. I don't hate him. I just hate his policies. I don't think they're going to work for us. And it should be that simple. It should be that simple. Now we're going to see moving forward how these two guys handle this. Because now this steady drumbeat and diet of hate and the left drumbeating to their followers that this guy is a racist, a demagogue, a white supremacist. You never use the word Nazi and compare this guy to Hitler and call him Hitler. You created this problem. You did. You nearly, if you are a pundit on the left, you know who you are, and you are calling this guy any of those things, that blood is on your hands, because you don't have anybody, any politician on the right, comparing Biden to Hitler and or the like, or trying to create some kind of a lateral or an analogous example to any of the villains of history that have done real, measurable harm, genocidal harm to groups and people. Not just somebody who's a firebrand who has rhetoric that is sometimes very rising in its tempered way in which it's delivered, and sometimes a little bit hot to those insecure people that don't agree with his policy positions, and instead try to liken him to the villains of history. That has created this situation. That is your fault, media on the left, and you almost created a national tragedy that we all don't need. Instead, why not just bring it to these two guys with different policy positions and how they move the country forward? And you, with all of the information, can make the best decision that you agree with and that I may not agree with, and that's fine. Because the best ideas will win the day, and my channel, this channel, getting busy. We're going flatline. We just want to pursue the truth. That's it. It's the only reason why I created this channel. I don't care what side you're on. It doesn't matter to me. I will call out people who have unjustly enriched themselves on the right just as fast as I'll do on the left. I just don't care. Because my goal is to find the truth in things and evolve my own perspectives and positions when I think that I may be wrong or that I'm not on the right side of the facts. And I'm willing to move. The only way we get to a better day in this world is if we're all willing to move better into a direction of things that are actually true and not rooted in irrational logic and emotional discord and the fantasy that is these ideas pumped out through the left that this guy on the right is anything less than just a guy who has policy and perspectives that are different than that of the left. And until this stops, where they try to keep analogizing this guy to Hitler and calling him a dictator and fascist and a white supremacist or a Nazi, any of these harsh language labels that makes him look like he is somebody that is really a threat to our society, you're going to have more lone gunmen that are going to come out, and the next guy may not miss. And then it will be destruction for all of us. So tone it down a little bit, and let's see if we can all try to get on the same page and have a discord that is peaceful and agreeable, even when we disagree.